This is a very popular area control game where players are going to be earning victory points by maintaining control of different regions of the board, winning battles, and completing different objectives. The first player to reach a certain amount of victory points wins the game, but what's neat about this is that you can earn both permanent and temporary victory points, which means that timing those is a factor since your temporary ones can be lost or stolen. But before I explain more how Kemet plays, I'll first let you know more about the new Rise of the Gods expansion. And it looks like this one isn't going to be fitting into that original core box, so they are going to be offering a new big box solution to fit all of the existing content as well as this new expansion. But I do think this expansion will be an essential addition to the game, and the reason for that is for the first module that it adds, and this is the Gods mode. Essentially what this does is adds unique abilities and asymmetry to each of the gods offered in the game, and each player will get a miniature representing their god that they will be able to deploy out on the board. I love asymmetry in my board games, so for me this one would be a must-have for the game of Kemet, but this does add a few other really interesting additions as well, with two different types of tiles that you'll be able to mix into the game. There's the amber tiles that actually allow you to recruit a brand new type of unit called a servant unit. These work functionally the same as the different creatures and monsters that you can get, but now rather than each of your troops only being able to be joined by one creature, they can now be joined by both a creature and one of these servant units. This creates a huge amount of possibilities of different combos when you mix and match the different creatures and servants together, not to mention how the asymmetrical powers of your gods might play into this as well. There's also the amethyst tiles that are going to be offering you a more balanced experience if you choose to go for these ones, because each of the existing tiles do specialize in a particular area, but these tiles are going to be offering you flexibility in all aspects of the game, and they're also going to be granting you with new uses for your veteran tiles. This expansion is also going to be offering some new modes of play with the 6-player expansion, as well as a solo mode, and also offering team modes with all sorts of different configurations. If you haven't had the chance to play Kemet yet, I should probably let you know that this is considered one of the greatest area control games of all time, and it's no surprise that this one is our own Discord pick of the week. Like I said, each player is going to be playing as a different god, and then each player is going to be starting in the different corners of the board. Each player has their own player board as well as 5 action tokens that they're going to be using to take their actions throughout the game. The way this works is that each player is going to be taking turns performing one action at a time, and you're going to be assigning one of your action tokens to one of the spaces on your board. And these actions can do all sorts of different things, like grant you prayer points, which you'll track at the top of your board here, and this is essentially the currency in the game. You're going to be using these to purchase different upgrades or augment some of your actions. But there's also actions that allow you to gain more units or move your existing units out on the board. And when it comes to movement, there are a few different options that you have. You can move to adjacent spaces, but if you're on a location with a monolith, you can actually teleport to any other monolith out on the board. Or if you're along the Nile River, you can actually use the various ports there, with some of those belonging to you and giving you special privileges. One thing about the action board that may not be immediately obvious from these pictures here is that the 3 actions in the bottom left are actually recessed areas of your board, and there's a bunch of different tiles that you can actually swap in and out from game to game. And what these are going to do is determine which of the upgrade tiles are included in that game. There's 5 different colors of tiles that already exist for this game, with the red ones giving you attack bonuses, the blue ones giving you defensive bonuses, the black ones giving you bonuses and abilities for sacrificing your units or killing other units, and then the white ones give you bonuses and abilities for everything else. And then finally we have the green tiles, which are a little bit special because they do come from the Underworld expansion, and these ones are all focused around reviving and sacrificing units and giving you different benefits for that. But these tiles also introduce a new board and a new mechanism where you're going to be tracking each of the players' honor, and then players are going to be losing or gaining honor depending on the tiles they purchase and the actions that they perform. The amount of honor you have or don't have can impact the strength of those abilities. So with those 5 existing colors, along with the new expansion that adds 2 more, you have 7 different colors of tiles to choose from, but like I said, you're only going to be using 3 within a given game, and putting an action token on the corresponding color is going to allow you to buy a tile of that color. But there is one more thing to note about this, because this tile comes in 4 different rows, and in order to gain access to the higher up rows, you actually have to upgrade your pyramid, which is another action that you can perform on your board. In this example, they use the white, the red, and the black tiles, and this specific player would be able to use an action to buy a level 1 white tile or a level 4 red or a level 4 black, because the rows you can access is equal to the current level of your pyramid of that color. But players are doing all of this to try and control different areas and win battles in order to gain victory points and prayer points, because at the end of each round you're going to be going through each of the different locations, resolving any battles, and then any player that controls a specific region is going to be getting the benefit of that region. Each region is very different and can grant you a different amount of prayer points for holding it, or even permanent or temporary victory points, and also could come with a cost or any combination of those things. The battles in this game are really interesting because it actually uses 3 different stats. You have your strength, your attack, and your defense. And it's only the strength that really matters when determining the winner of a battle. And that's going to be determined by the number of units that you have there, as well as if you have any special units. But then players are each going to be simultaneously revealing a battle card. And every player starts with the same 6 battle cards at the beginning of the game, so you know exactly what the other players have in their hand. But players can also play a power card on top of that card in order to modify its results. These cards are all going to be simultaneously revealed, and then the player that has the highest strength is the winner of that battle. But you're also going to be comparing any of the attack and defense values separately from that strength in order to determine how many, if any, units are lost from either side. If each player played an attack value of 1 and neither player played any defense values, then both the players will be losing one of their units. But of course, the player that won the battle gets to stay in that region, and then the other player will have to retreat. The game continues like this until a player reaches that threshold of victory points, and then they win the game. And if you do want to check this one out, I will have it linked in the description down below.